But one of the major problems with it, if you've got a used Highlander prior to 2020, is the stereo system. Now, this might be a first world problem. This car does have the JBL system in it, but man, we've had so many issues with connectivity with our phones. And, you know, I call my wife from home and I can't hear because the volume changes, and it's just a really big pain, honestly. And we've gotten so used to the Apple CarPlay system in our 4Runner that we decided to try and find a replacement system for this. So I did some research, and on Amazon I found this company called ViaBecs, who makes a 10.2-inch touchscreen replacement system. Now, I've never done this before on this car, and I've actually never tested it. This is an honest review and maybe a solution for a 2014 to 2019 Toyota Highlander with the factory system. If you've been having some phone connectivity issues, this system is capable of supporting wireless Apple CarPlay and corded Android Auto. I did get a trim removal kit so I could get some of the trim and the air vents and stuff out so I could get at the old radio. And then also, just a caveat too, ViaBecs is pretty impressive already. After purchase, I got a direct message from the seller verifying the year, make, and model and the version of the stereo of our car. Let's see how this install goes, and then we'll do a little review afterwards. The unit itself, very well packaged, and actually came included with a glass screen protector. It came with the canvas wiring harness that was specific to our vehicle, as well as a few other plugs. Looks like there's a GPS antenna, a Wi-Fi antenna, and then an additional microphone. Let me show you a little bit what I've done now. I took the ViaBecs unit out of the package, and to the best of my ability, based on the instructions, I've tried to connect the cables that they've sent to me. I'll then go out and we'll show you how we remove the old system. Then we'll get it all mapped up and connected and put back together and then tested. This one wiring harness seems to plug right in here and then has the female RCA connections. There's also this plug right here. The instructions seem to show that this is for the backup video camera. So I've plugged that into this cable at the moment. There's actually two options. Once we get to the car, I'll verify that I have it connected to the right plug. It also shows that there's an auxiliary connection here, a male and female connection that connect from here to the auxiliary in. I've also got their additional GPS antenna installed. And then also from this wiring harness, there's an antenna in that I have plugged in, which I assume then will plug into the factory system and retain the factory FM radio antenna. Also right here, there's a little plug that is marked on the diagram for USB. And I'm also assuming that this plugs into a factory plug that will retain the factory USB ports in the car for charging and for playing music through the auxiliary cable. Okay, here goes nothing. I'm gonna try one of my little tools here, and I'm gonna start removing this piece of trim from this side. I've seen different people try and start it from here, but then you run into some issues with the cowl around the gauges. So I'm gonna start from here. This piece of trim needs to come out. This little piece of trim up top here needs to come out, and then obviously the two vents. And then we'll go to the garage here and grab a little socket set there. There's 4 10mm little bolts that you'll need a little ratchet set with an extension on to get this off. So let's see what this takes to get these off. You want to be careful not to force anything as you're removing this stuff. You don't want to break any tabs. There we go. We got that off. And then there is 2 connectors back here, factory connectors that we're going to pinch and remove. And then we're going to set that aside. And then we also want to remove this trim right here. I was able to just get that just with my fingers. So that piece comes out and gets set aside. And then we've got to remove these vents. All right, I've got just a standard Craftsman ratchet set with a 10mm socket on it. Just take these 4 out. I'm gonna save those for later. Okay, the 4 10mm sockets are out. Then this likely should just pull straight out. It looks like there's some plugs from the bottom that we don't need to remove. but we want to remove all the top ones. Okay, now the radio is free, and then we've got the factory plugs there that should mate up to the wiring harness that is connected to the ViaBecs unit. One tip too, we want to make sure and remove these little yellow tabs that are on the factory stereo. Those will transfer to the ViaBecs unit. Okay, I got the yellow clips installed. I got the wiring harness installed, and let's get ready to go out and pop this in the car. I did install the extra USB plug here in effort to maybe see if there's a way to upload the Toyota logo so that when you turn it on, it looks factory. So a little bit of a guess there. We'll see how this goes. Okay, a couple things. I got this GPS antenna cable routed behind here, and there's a spot above the vent. I peeled the little adhesive off there. I'm gonna stick that up right underneath the dash there. And then I have this cable coming out, and that will go into the GPS in here, plugs in and twists. Also, I'm gonna install the Wi-Fi connection too. I don't know if we'll use it, but I feel like I can route the cable right along here and hide it and then stick it up underneath here, and it won't be seen at all. So I figure I might as well do that too. So that comes down here, and I have that cable routed up behind here and into this box. And then I'll put that right here on the 4G cable. So we'll put that on. So I've got the 4G Wi-Fi and the GPS antenna. Again, not 100% sure I'm gonna need those, but I have a neat way to run the cables, and I can hide the devices out of sight, so might as well use them. Okay, now let's figure out how the rest of these cables go in here. I did recognize this gray plug right here. Does match the USB plug on the ViaBecs unit, so I'm gonna get that plugged in. Okay, this kind of looks like a mess, but I think I got everything connected. This plug right here from the car doesn't seem to have a place. This particular antenna plug doesn't seem to have a place, as well as this one. So I guess I do have this particular plug plugged into here, which comes over to the radio antenna. So clearly the FM radio antenna is connected to the car. I'm guessing one of these is for Sirius satellite XM radio or something like that, which we're not going to be using, so I'm not too concerned. Looks like everything else is connected. One thing, it looks like there's a couple of different places where the backup camera could be installed. And so once I matched all the plugs up, I traced the wire that actually goes to a plug right here. And actually there's a yellow wire that corresponds. And so I'm using this back camera video in plug, the one that's connected to the car from the wiring harness that came with the ViaBecs. So what we're gonna do now, I got everything ran in. I also ran that extra USB cable along down here and have that coming out here. I will say that the built-in microphone in the unit is not ideal, and so you're gonna want to install the provided microphone. Basically, you have to pop the trim piece around the dash gauges out, and then the little weather stripping that is on the frame of the driver's door jamb, you pop that down, and then basically you can feed the line all the way up to the top of the windshield on the driver's side and mount it up there, and it works pretty good. Now, I will note that the 10mm bolts don't hold this in anymore. I am gonna put them back into the car just to retain them in case we ever do decide to sell the car and put the factory radio back for any reason. But I still have the climate control clips here. Everything's tucked back. GPS antenna there. And then the 4G Wi-Fi antenna is down here below. So let's give her a test. Okay, moment of truth. Yes, we should take the packaging off. First thing we want to do is get connected to Wi-Fi. Okay, I'm now connected to my Wi-Fi. Okay, we're getting there. I put the car in reverse and the factory camera is working, so I do have that installed properly. The stereo works with the FM radio and my steering wheel controls work, so we're getting there. Okay, a couple quick things on the setup. You got your Wi-Fi set up, then you need to go to settings and you go down to factory and the password is 123456, confirm. Then you have to go up here to select your model. For the Toyota Highlander, you want Simple Soft Toyota All New Highlander, and you do that here, making sure that you've selected the All New Highlander. This you can scroll down here to make sure you've got All New Highlander, and then it will update. Now I've already done that on here, so I'm not gonna re-update it, but once I updated that, I was able to get this screen, and then you have to go to Bluetooth first, and you have to add your phone. I've already added my phone. Once you've added your phone, you go to the T-Link app here, and then it will connect via Bluetooth to your device, and then Apple CarPlay works via Bluetooth. I also tested the factory USB plug, and my phone is charging with the factory USB. So I'm basically charging my phone with the factory USB, and I'm playing the Apple CarPlay through my iPhone 15 Pro on the T-Link app on the device. It seems like everything's working. I'm making a test call to my wife. Hi, honey.
Thanks for installing my new Apple CarPlay.
Yeah, so it's working.
Like a whole new car.
I'm gonna put the dash back together and go.
I'll take it for a spin. Sounds
All right.
great.
All right, see ya.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.